afternoon. I declare the public portion of the May 12, 2015 school board meeting to be reconvened at 5:30 p.m. The attorney-client session has been terminated. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience to please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item on matters which the board customarily takes action on, you must first complete a peach form located on the front table. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll once again?
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Carol Ely, District 2.
Present.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Stephen Lake, Board Attorney.
Here.
Mr. George Shamon, Superintendent.
Here.
Dr. Anna DeWeese, Director of Federal Programs and Grants, please introduce the individuals who will be providing the inspiration and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Well, members of the school board, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to introduce these great people from Career Source and YouthBuild. What we have at Howard Academy is a partnership where we have 18 to 21-year-old students earning their GED, which I'm not going to really talk about that program. We'll let Natalie talk about that, for a half a day. And then they are able to build Habitat for Humanity homes for the other half. The course is about 20 weeks long, and the kids, young adults, actually earn about a $200 a week stipend, and they receive certifications. So with your blessings, we are able to house all of that at Howard Academy. So I'm going to introduce Natalie, and Natalie will introduce her boss, Brian, and then we'll go on to the students, former students.
Thank you, Dr. DeWeese. Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Clark, and I'm the academic trainer for Hinkles and McCoy, Career Source, Citrus Levy, Marion. It's an honor to be here with you today, and I'd like to take a moment here and tell you about the amazing program that I have the privilege to work with and the youth that I serve. YouthBuild is a 20-week program, like Dr. DeWeese mentioned, that is designed to provide training for at-risk youth between the ages of 18 and 21. The program currently has 5 components: construction, education, leadership, and graduate opportunity. Youth spend half of their day, like Dr. DeWeese had mentioned, on a job site building a home for Habitat for Humanity, which is within their own communities. This creates housing for low-income people and also gives the students marketable job skills. The other half of the day is spent in the classroom with myself and a full-time instructor from CTAE. As their academic instructor, it is my job to write curriculum for each and every student to meet their own basic skill and Common Core needs so that they can graduate with their GED, which is recognized as a high school diploma in the state of Florida. Additionally, participants have the ability to earn several industry-recognized credentials during their 20-week program: HBI, which is Home Builder Institute, OSHA, NRF Customer Service, and Safe Staff Food Handling. Many YouthBuild students come from really bad and challenging backgrounds, from some poor neighborhoods, and counseling is available to help them through these times for anger management, family responsibilities, and other fundamental life and work issues. Leadership is taught explicitly in YouthBuild programs based on the philosophy that young people are not a burden, but rather a resource to be tapped into. Our program is sponsored by a $1.1 million grant by the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration, Phoenix Rising, Career Source Citrus Levy, Marion, and our valued community partners. Not including the current build, which is still underway, YouthBuild has a remarkable 92% success rate, with 84 of 91 participants graduating from the program, which is based on participation in home builds and successfully earning industry-recognized credentials throughout our trainings. Over 60 of those youth have gone on to enter into employment and or successful college enrollment. I would like to take this time to extend a heartfelt gratitude and thanks to our business community partners, Ocala Police Department, Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, the City of Ocala, CTAE, of course, Howard Academy Community Center, we couldn't say enough without Dr. Deweese, Career Source Citrus Levy Marion, and its youth services provider, Hinkles and McCoy Youth Connections. Florida Youth Connections is a community partnership focused on serving youth ages 16 to 21. I'd like to introduce my manager and our area director, Brian Kennard, and and let him tell you a little bit about how this particular program, Youth Connections, aids in the success of our many other youth. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.
Thank you, Natalie. Again, my name is Brian Connor. I'm the area manager for our youth services for Citrus Levy and Marion counties. I'm going to be brief because I have a couple of young gentlemen here that were successful graduates of our YouthBuild program, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge the fact of what we do in totality of our Youth Connections program. We are Florida Youth Connections. We are the youth services provider for Career Source Citrus Levy Marion County. For more information, of course, you can visit careersourceclm.com. We do quite a few things with our youth. Our youth are ages 16 to 21. Starting in July, it'll be age 16 to 24. We serve at-risk youth, out-of-school youth that are high school dropouts, barriers to employment to include foster youth, basic skills deficiencies, list goes on and on. But we assist those youth to position them for success, lifelong change for the rest of their life. And we do focus on GED, high school diploma, credential training, work readiness skills, to list a few. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go ahead and just give you just a quick snapshot of our program statistics. Since July 2012 to April 30th, 2015, 519 young men and women have successfully gained employment and or entered into post-secondary education through the assistance of our Youth Connections opportunity. Attainment of 648 industry recognized credentials, which includes a list of 117 youth that have either attained their GED or a high school diploma. And part of that success, these two young men to my left over here, and I'm getting ready to introduce them, but I just want to say that we have been doing this since 2003, really been making an impact to the community. It's a great service to the community and helping our youth, for our future youth, for employment. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jacob Black, one of our successful YouthBuild graduates.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jacob Black. I was part of the YouthBuild Phase 6 program. I graduated with my high school diploma and many of the certifications that Ms. Clark and Mr. Bryan listed off. And I now work at Nobility Homes thanks to those certifications, and I'm a carpenter making $10.50 an hour. I plan on enrolling in CTAE to further my education in the welding industry, and plan on helping back, putting towards this community. That's why I'm here. I also would like to thank Mr. Bryan, Mr. Dan McGinnis, who's helping me enroll in college and whatnot. And I would also like to thank Ms. Clark, Ms. Goodrich, who is not here with us at the very moment, and all the other members from the YouthBuild program. And I would like to introduce my good friend, good schoolmate, Daquan Clifford, my bad. Yes.
Hi, my name is Daquan Clifford. I attended Phase 6 of the YouthBuild program. Before I joined the program, I was in a rough neighborhood in Orlando. I made a couple bad decisions, but I got tired of that, so I moved to Ocala. Once I came to Ocala, I joined the YouthBuild program, and what I got from that program is my communication skills has enhanced, I've been more disciplined, and I've earned my diploma. Once I've earned my diploma, I was recommended for an AmeriCorps position interning with Career Source. I committed to 1 full year, and what I do is I go out and recruit young adults 18 to 21 lead them in community service, get them basic skill proficient, and give them work readiness training. Being in the AmeriCorps, it means a lot to me because not only am I giving back to the community, I'm impacting young adults' lives. And with that being said, may you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you all go, I just want to thank you, Dr. Luis, for making sure that they came over this YouthBuild program. I remember going over to Howard Academy, and you took me on the tour, and I was so impressed with the work that you students are doing, and I'm really impressed, and I want to congratulate both of you young gentlemen for taking the step that you've taken. You know, it takes commitment, and then there's a lot of pride in the achievement that you've accomplished. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Stacy, Ms. Ely, Stacy, and Mr. James.
Congratulations to you both. You make great role models. And as far as recruiting new students, I mean, you're the best. So thank you for coming to present to us, and good luck to you in your future.
Thank you.
You know, we hear about children, students, young adults that are the success stories of our district. We hear about the engineers and we hear about the doctors, but some of our top people that are very instrumental in making the world what it is today, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, barely got out of, one of them barely got out of high school. Did you know Steve Jobs barely got out of high school? But yet they made a difference in the world. And when people like you take advantage of second chances, you are my heroes, not the doctors and the lawyers and the other people. You guys are my heroes.
Ms. DeLuise, is this the same program that Mr. Johnson is in? He's working with you in the GED program?
Yes, sir.
He's your full-time. How many full-time instructors do you all have over there?
One full-time instructor in the classroom, and then I supplement the full-time instruction by writing individual curriculum for each student.
Okay. So Mr. Johnson do the math, and
He teaches our math and our science, and then I pick up doing the language and the social studies, and then anything where they're not proficient, like 75% or below, and any competency within their TABE scores or any assessments that I need to do outside of basic skills. And I feel bridge that gap by writing curriculum and assess.
okay. And how is this GED program aligned with the with CTAE? Is it aligned with them at all?
Well, it's the same GED program, except these, I said kids again, they receive more because they're getting their industry certifications as well. I don't know that ours is better or worse, it's just another opportunity. And there are different opportunities out there, but they all have to pass the state assessment in order to earn their diploma.
And how many students we currently have in the program?
We have 16 in the program, and we're getting ready to take in another 7.
And what about the summer band?
They come in the summer.
Yes, sir. We're going to be teaching.
So this program will go to will run year round?
Yes, sir.
When we adjourn for summer break, they would have been on our campus for 1 complete year, including the summers. And so I actively send out flyers and talk to people in the community as well, because I see the value in the program. And I mean, to me, it's amazing, because where else are you going to be able to earn your GED after everything else seems like it's not working right? And then you're helping to build a Habitat for Humanity home for someone. So then that's all about community activism. And I don't care like how smart you are, but what you do in your character is what impresses me. And so for me, that's a big caveat. And finally, I mean, they're getting paid. They're getting $200 a week per stipend based on their grants. And so I think that's just amazing, because some of them do have children, and we are finding ways to get them daycare for their kids and get them enrolled in VPK. It's just been a nice community, it's a community effort. And when we are out and you're passing by 4th Street and you see them building the houses and you see them with their shirts on, and I'm like, yeah, those are my babies out there. You know, really they're Natalie's babies, but I tell them, everybody, you're my babies.
I'd also like to add, the youth build is also for people like me. I'm socially awkward, as you can tell. It also allowed me to build character and make new friends and kind of reach out and make a new person of myself, because me being me, I kept to myself. Shy, quiet kid. Now I'm well off. Thank you for this.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs.
I just want to say congratulations, and you're making our community proud, and I'm sure your parents. But you mentioned that you make $10.50 now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. But you also mentioned that you're thinking about welding, correct? You stick with that. I think you'll be highly impressed.
I've actually got a neighbor who has told me there's a job at the local industry he works at that is willing to pay $18 an hour if I have my certifications.
Oh yeah, you have big goals. I'll just say my brother-in-law's a welder, and I have, have a master's in education, and he makes more than I do, so hey.
And one final thing, every session or every new group, I always ask the question, who wants to be a teacher? And not one of them want to be a teacher. So I'm still working on that for you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Stacy?
I forgot to thank Dr. DeWeese because she's helping me with some other things right now. And so I'm learning that when I need help with a parenting issue or what can we do for parents and at-risk children, she's my go-to person. And when I mentioned Steve Jobs, by the way, in case you kids, you're gonna always be our kid. Steve Jobs is the father of Apple Computer, and he has only a high school diploma. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just hold on for a second. Cameron Bryant, Boy Scout from Troop 72. Will you stand, please? Just wanted to recognize you and thank you for coming tonight. Cameron is a Boy Scout from Troop 72, and he's here to get his communications badge. And if you just wondered, Troop 72 is right outside, right across the street from us. So it's a pleasure to have you here tonight, Cameron. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend approval of the agenda for the May 12, 2015 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those distributed to board members at the meeting, the audio recording and DVD included as part of the official record of the meeting.
May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Ely and seconded by Mrs. King. Do we have any discussion? I call a question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Nothing's happening.
Need for me to vote for you this evening?
Yeah, go ahead.
And the motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the April 9th, 2015, the administrative briefing and work session, the April 14th, 2015 school board meeting. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Ely and seconded by Mr. James. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Any discussion? Okay, I call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
I'm not able to pull it up. The 6th, I don't know.
And the motion passes 5-0. Individuals who've completed the appropriate form prior to 5:40 p.m. will now have the opportunity to address the board. Before you begin your presentation, it is required that you state your name and address for the record. Additionally, please spell your last name. Matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents wishing to address the board regarding a discipline matter will have the opportunity to do so at that time. I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain some additional points.
Thank you, Ms. Boynton. If you do plan to address the school board tonight, please be aware of the school board procedures. Copies of the procedures are available from Mr. Kevin Christian or from one of the front tables. Under the school board's procedures, audiovisual presentations are permitted if provided at least 48 hours prior to the meeting to the school board's assistant. Audiovisual presentations are limited to a total of 5 minutes. The use of any student's name except by his or her parents or guardian, or identifying references to or identification of other students and their families is strictly prohibited. Based on time considerations, the school board by majority vote may rightfully limit the number of presentations on any one topic, shorten the presentation time, move public comment time to a different position on the agenda, or eliminate the public comment time altogether. Ms. Boynton?
Thank you. Madam Secretary, do we have any speakers this evening?
Chris Altabello.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Superintendent, board members. Chris Altabello, Altobello, 2020 Northeast 43rd Street, Ocala, Florida. Normally this time during the year, parents, teachers, and education stakeholders issue a report card on the 2015 legislative session. Every year, legislators come to Tallahassee for 60 days with a single assignment. The Florida Constitution requires them to pass only one bill, a balanced state budget. Well, as you've heard, the report card is incomplete. This session, legislators abandoned their work and left town early. Without a state budget, school districts, cities, counties, state agencies, and the millions of Floridians they serve have been left in limbo. Imagine if a teacher abandoned their job. Legislators plan to try again in June, but in the meantime, with a new budget year scheduled to start on July 1st, districts are forced to guess about program funding and their ability to meet staffing needs for next year. Some local contracts have been put on hold, and districts are wrestling with how to meet the required timelines to provide taxpayers with information about millage rates and budgets. Some legislators are trying to avoid responsibility by claiming that their failure to act wasn't their fault. It was the Senate, the House, the governor, the federal government, even the President of the United States. Sounds like the old saying I gave to Mrs. Hoyle in 5th grade, "The dog ate my homework." The fact is, revenue projections say that there's enough money to properly fund the programs that are truly meaningful to Floridians. Legislators have no excuse for pitting students against patients and schools against hospitals. It's time for our legislators, particularly those who think it's a sport, to demand accountability of students, schools, and educators to apply the same concept to themselves. It's time to hold legislators accountable. The MEA asks this board and concerned parents, citizens, and stakeholders across Marion County to call or email your legislator and tell them to finish their assignment. And for a passing grade, they must do the following: give school districts the flexibility necessary to meet local needs by placing any increase in education budget into the base student allocation. Distribute public education capital outlay, or PICO funding, to traditional public schools the way taxpayers originally intended. Fully fund the cost of state-mandated testing, including the cost of technology, test delivery, and staffing. And return to the original intent and definitions of the Florida class size amendment and fund it appropriately. Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Are you going to send a copy of that to any of us, Mr. Chris? I would appreciate it.
And I'd like to Mr.
Thank you.
Altabello, I'd like to comment to you, please. You spoke about if the state mandates testing, that they pay for what it takes to do it on the computers. We do have a Florida statute that basically says if they don't do it, if they don't pay, we don't have to play. It says clearly that you are not required to go into the testing without, if you're not financially ready for financial reasons, or you're not ready to go into the testing. What I don't understand is why districts have not used that statute. They've gone to all kinds of extremes, you know, opting out and different things, but no one has used the excuse to not play the Tallahassee game that statute provides us to use. It's clear. We do not have to fund these computers and all of this stuff out of our own budget. It is clear that if we don't have the money, we don't have to do it, and we don't have to do it until we're ready. There is a statute that's very, very clear. And not until school boards hold the legislators to, and the legislators gave us that in good faith, assuming, I guess, that we would use it. But we've been bullied by Tallahassee on the things that we have to do, and if you respond to a bully, the bully just keeps bullying. That's the way it works. And not until a school district says, hey, my legislators have a statute that says I don't have to do this until we're ready. Only then will the crazies stop. And thank you for bringing up the point about not having to, you know, that we shouldn't be paying this stuff unless they give us money for it, because there's a statute that's clear that says we don't have to. Thank you.
Ms. Boynton, I would propose, since this issue has come up several times, that I do some research on that, and maybe we can address this at the next work session, and I can outline exactly what the obligations are under the statute.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Lake. I would appreciate that.
You're welcome.
In fact, I will give, to make it move quickly for you, when I get home, I'll give you the statute number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. If you could make sure that we find time on one of our work sessions to make sure that we address this statute, and Mr. Lake will proceed over that for us.
Very good.
Thank you. Ms. Flockheader?
Anybody else?
Yes, Linda Kuntz.
Hi, I'm Linda Kuntz with the Cancer Alliance of Marion County. Kuntz, K-O-O-N-T-Z, and you need my address?
Yes, please.
10520 Southeast 138th Place Road, Summerfield. Thank you for having me tonight. I represent the Cancer Alliance of Marion County. The Cancer Alliance was brought together to raise awareness of cancer resources in our community. We were modeled on the Children's Alliance, and Dr. Jordan was my mentor in beginning this program. Some of the things that we were tasked with doing was providing a website for our community. So over the last 3 years, we now have a cancer resource website devoted to Marion County, crushcancermc.org. I'm really here to make you aware of that. A lot of people are not aware of that. And that is, I work on that, and we're working on bringing as many resources to that as we can, and anybody in Marion County can use it. Also, through the auspices, or under the auspices of HUGS, HUGS is a community cancer foundation who is the 501c3 under which the Cancer Alliance operates. We also created a daily expense fund. We call it HUGS for Heroes, and that is for Marion County residents who are currently in treatment who may need some assistance with daily expenses. That's for anybody in Marion County who's currently in treatment. You apply through crushcancermc.org to HUGS for Heroes. Now, of course, not everyone will get accepted, but what we were hoping to do with that is to allocate some monies raised locally, used locally, for people who were just, you know, not being able to pay the bills. So those were our two main, I think, successes in the first couple years. Now we are raising awareness of other cancer-related issues, and one of which is the human papillomavirus. There is a vaccine for the human papillomavirus, and it has been recommended by the CDC that all children ages 11 to 12 get this vaccine. The Association for Immunization Practices in March said that this is recommended, but as of now, the documentation, the immunization schedules will not record this recommendation until February of next year. So I'm coming to you with something that we normally do. We have vaccinations in our schools. We have an HPV vaccination that has been known to prevent against this virus. This virus then goes on to cause many forms of cancer. I don't need to go into all these related cancers, but they are sexually transmitted cancers. So what I'd like to do is, we're just trying to raise awareness. We're not telling people you need a vaccine or you don't need a vaccine. That's a parental privilege. But we have partnered with the Marion County Children's Alliance for an event on Wednesday, May 20th at the Sheriff's Department from 5:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. And we have brought in experts from around our region, including Dr. Stephen Busey from Ocala, Sudham Vidaparampal from Moffitt. She's an oncologist who's also a master's in public health, and has done some preliminary studies on the vaccination rates in our state. Also, Dearlene Thomas Brown from the Florida Department of Health, Tallahassee, Dr. Jacqueline Castano from the UF Health, Jeffrey Young from Head and Neck Oncology from Mayo, and then locally we're bringing in our Florida Department of Health to address the cost and the availability of the vaccine, because big deal if we're supposed to get it, but if we can't afford it, then what? So what I'm asking for you to do as education and awareness is, it's a big one, and I don't know if it's even possible, to consider doing an all call. We have canvassed the community. I network through regionally, nationally, locally, and we have canvassed the community with information about this. Thank you. But the people that we're missing mostly is the parent. Because we can get the physicians to listen, and we can get the school board to pay attention, but we want to get the safety and the efficacy information to the parents. So if we could just announce that, all that we're asking is that you announce that this is coming up. It's a free program. Everyone in the community is welcome. So far, we have about 75 people that are coming. I'm concerned because I don't feel like our minorities are represented as well as they should be. Spanish-speaking and Black Americans, I wish that we had more community leaders that would participate to show that this is something that's important to us. Why? Well, most of the people that are sexually active are going to contract this virus. Not all of them will get cancer, because it'll self-fix itself. But those that do go on to become cancer, it's going to, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that information to us tonight. I know you had a request, and before we even rule whether or not, I would like to ask our attorney. I think it's prudent upon us to see, can we disseminate the information, and if so, how fast can we get it out for her?
I'll take a look at that issue.
But I'm really thrilled that you started this Cancer Alliance organization, and could you repeat the website one more time?
Yes, ma'am. CrushCancerMC.org. If you're interested in the Hugs for Heroes, which is a daily expense fund, it's on our homepage and it's up at the top left.
Okay. I really think that it's awesome that your organization will, help with the daily expenses for a person that has cancer, because I know, that it is such a trying time for that individual. So I just want to thank you, and we will get the information to you. If you could leave a copy,
yes, ma'am,
with our board secretary, I would sincerely appreciate that. And board, do you have any comments?
I just want to remind the board, now let's make sure we don't go down a slippery slope here now. And when I think in terms of how we're using our media, because this is a slippery slope, and we can be setting a precedent here. And I just want to make sure that we are aware of our policies in the past, okay, when it relates to schools and things like that. But I've also heard announcing things on the PA system at our schools and things. So this is a very good cause, but board, this is a slippery slope. When we start doing that, we have to make ourselves available for everyone else that will come forward before this board. I just want to make sure that we're aware of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. James, and thank you again, ma'am.
Thank you,
Ms. Blockheader, Madam Secretary?
That's it.
Okay. All right, board. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
The motion was made by Mrs. Ely and seconded by Mr. James. Is there any discussion? All right, I call a question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Somehow I've gone away. Okay. I'm sitting next to Miss Ely. It's contagious.
And the motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the following donations? $2,000 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from Anil and Kavitha Gargiani. $1,291.20 to Pheasant Elementary School from Pheasant Elementary PTO. Now, 10 Dell laptops valued at $1,799.99 to Horizon Academy at Marion from Kids Central. $3,625.76 to Lake Ware Middle School from Boy Scout Troop 113. $1,700 to Stanton Wearsdale Elementary School from Wearsdale Presbyterian Church. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Mrs. King, seconded by Mrs. Ely. Is there any discussion? I'll call a question. All in favor of accepting these donations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. This evening, I'm going to ask you, Mr. James, to thank our public for their donations.
Once again, it's always a pleasure to really thank people that really contribute to our school system. And when we look at the total number over the year, and we're getting ready to close in on the year, and how many people have contributed monetarily and materially to our school system, it's always a pleasure. And I just want to say on behalf of all the students and staff that take advantage of these gifts that are presented to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Did you have our total for us today, Mrs.
Would you like the total?
Yeah. Please.
$10,416.95. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Board, I'm going to give you a few reminders. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, May 21st, 2015 at 9 a.m. The purpose of this work session is to review the Code of Student Conduct and the renewal of the 2015 to 2016 general insurances, as well as receive a construction update. All right. So, Board, do you have any committee reports, concerns, or comments? And let me start with you, Ms. Stacy, and then work our way down.
I have something I'd like to share. Again, you know, the teachers have come to me, and I think probably Mrs. King can relate to what I'm going to talk about. The teachers have shared that we have serious attendance problems with some students in our schools, and that it goes on and on and on. I've gone to a principal and talked to him briefly about it, and they did have a problem, and they aren't. No one seems to be real sure. I do have the truancy little packet and everything, but in speaking with different people in the district, no one person really knows exactly what we're supposed to do. But I haven't spoken to Mr. Vianella completely about it. But even in speaking with him, it's kind of like a lot of people know a little bit about what's going on. But I've studied the statute ad nauseum, and tonight I'm only going to touch the highlights. I went to our truancy hearings today at the courthouse. One student had 55 unexcused absences. Another student, he looked like he might be middle school or early high school. When the judge asked him, why are you not going to school? I think he had 30 unexcused. And he said he really didn't believe anybody was going to ever do anything to him because it had gone on for so long. He really didn't believe it. So, and he actually told the judge that. So I've investigated some things, and one thing that, you know, I've talked over and over about how this school board has relegated their responsibilities through the years, and it's just kind of happened, and I don't believe that it's any one person's fault, and I don't believe even, you know, it's just kind of the way we've always done things. I find out in statute 1003.27, number 2B, that each public school principal or principal's designee shall notify the district school board of each minor student under their jurisdiction who has 15 accumulated unexcused absences in a 90-day calendar, time. I've never received that list, and possibly it's just one of those things that we just kind of didn't do it, and the 5 superintendents before that didn't do it. But I am requesting that that someone put this together, because it does not give the school district, it doesn't say they may do it, it says they shall notify the school district board of each minor student under its jurisdiction, so that's missed 15 days over a 90 calendar day period. So I would like to request, Mrs. Boynton, that this information start coming to us as it is in statute that we are supposed to be receiving it. Also, our own school board policy states that 3 tardies or early withdrawals equals 1 unexcused absence. So I think we need to get a handle on this, because these parents, you know, there's all kinds of excused absences. If the parents are sick, the parents have medical problems, and there's really truly hardships, you know, those are excused. But for families, just because their parents are doing drugs or whatever and can't get their kids to school, that's just not acceptable, that their child's life should be ruined because they choose to do things they're not supposed to do. And actually, a truancy petition can actually start with just 5 unexcused absences per statute 984.03, number 54. So it does. You don't have to wait until there's 15, you know, to get these parents moving. On the habitual truancy cases, the district school superintendent is authorized on statute, Mr. Attorney, 1003.27, number 3. The district school superintendent is authorized to file a truancy petition per statute 984.03. If the school superintendent chooses not to file a truancy petition, if the student has missed 5 days or 15 days and 90 days, procedure for filing a child in need of service petition shall be filed. Shall be. Pursuant to the subsection in Chapter 984. In accordance with that procedure established by the school district board, the school board of the district, the designated school representative shall refer a student who is habitually truant. Habitually truant just basically means misses 15 days out of 90. And so, you know, there's things that we need to probably buckle down, and these teachers are telling me that if the student accidentally comes to school on 2 of the days, one I think might be in October, 2 of the student count days, and doesn't even hardly go in between, but the parents know he has to be there for FSA testing or FCAT testing, he shows up. He might not have been there. Now the teacher's VAM score is affected by the fact that that student hasn't even been there to school, but he accidentally did appear on a couple of the 2 days that's necessary for them to appear for their VAM score to be for it to be factored into their VAM score. So at this point in time, I'm asking that the school board be notified of all students who are habitually truant if they have had 15 unexcused absences in a 90-day period, but we also will include 3 tardies equals 1 unexcused. And we need to start, if the teachers are going to be held responsible for the students in their classroom, we need to make sure the students are there or have a good reason for not being there. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stacy. I would like to probably give you some information a little bit later on our truancy program that we do have.
I have it. I know all about it.
Okay, so, and there will be a meeting on May 14th, that's this Thursday, at 5 o'clock in the evening at the courtroom 2A.
I was at the courtroom this afternoon with 10.
So, but Mr. Superintendent, she's asked for this list, and do you have anything you want to say?
What I would like to ask is, we can certainly do this at a work session or at a board meeting. I'd like to ask at some point in time Mr. Vianello, along with our Director of Psychological and Social Work Services, Matt Lane, to come and give you an entire presentation A to Z, so you'll understand exactly what the procedures we do use that fall under statute. Your pleasure, Madam Chair, would be during the board meeting or a work session? You tell me.
I think we should have a work session. I would love to see the what we do and how it's done. I think
I'll-
all our board members would agree.
I'll ask Mr. Vianello to prepare something, and we'll come back to you as soon as we can schedule it.
Mrs.
Okay,
Boynton?
thank you, Ms. Stacy.
Well, something's going seriously awry. If I sat there and listened to a student today who had 55 unexcused absences, and so far not really much has happened. So that's a lot more than 15, that child should have been there at 15. And so I've spoken with Mr. Lane extensively from Psychological Services about this. He and I are talking about it. He knows my concerns, and in fact, I'm working with him. He's helping me. He's the one that shared a lot of information with me, and I'm becoming an expert on absenteeism. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stacy. Ms. Ely, would you give us
Okay, I want to comment on what you're talking about. As a former principal, I can totally relate to absenteeism and children who are not in school. We can't teach them. It's not the child's fault, it's the parent's fault. And I want to tell you a story. When I was principal a couple schools ago, they took one of the cases of children that had head lice, a sister and brother had head lice. The parents took them out of school, and they would just never bring them back to school, and this was chronic. And so finally, in the spring, the parents were brought to court, and they didn't think anything was going to happen. I went to the courtroom. The judge asked them why they weren't sending, the mom and dad were both there, why they weren't sending them to school. They said that they couldn't get rid of the head lice. Well, the judge proceeded to put them in jail, and he did. And the mother was just so surprised. She said she had to go home to get her makeup. Well, that didn't happen. But that really set a big, huge example to the community, and I believe it was on the front page of the paper. I think we need to take more serious action with our parents, because they're the ones that are responsible for getting our kids to school. And one of the schools that I represent, Lake Weir Middle, has some of the highest absenteeisms, and those parents, many of them live over in the shores. If their child misses the bus, they just don't go to school because they don't have a car. So these are huge issues, but just consistent absenteeism is absolutely unacceptable. I wish we could get a handle on it. Sometimes I'd like to get a bus and go pick up all those kids that miss the bus and take them to school, because the parents sure aren't going to get them there. But
they shouldn't have missed the bus.
No. Okay, enough said about that, but I wanted to tell you my example. Couple things. This was in the paper several weeks ago. Marion schools ranked among the best in the nation, and this is more than 22,000 schools were examined last year. In the previous year, only Bellevue and Vanguard were ranked, but this past year, every single school was ranked as one of the most challenging high schools, and the way they're looked at is by what programs they offer. The IB program, the Advanced International Certificate of Education, the ACE, and the Advanced Placement. It's great that our high schools are being recognized for all of the incredible programs that they offer our students. Not that every student has to be in these programs, but as Mr. Tomlin said, it shows also how well our elementary teachers are preparing our students to go into these programs. So congratulations, high school students and high schools, principals and teachers, for doing such an outstanding job and offering such great programs in your schools. And talking about elementary, where our elementary teachers are doing such a great job, this Friday is Stanton Wurzdale Day, and I called the school and asked him what it was about. Apparently, Representative Joe Pickens, in 2006, he was a state representative, he proclaimed Stanton Wurzdale as a very consistently high-ranked school with an A 9 out of 11 years. And he said that he proclaimed May 15th as Stanton Wurzdale Day. So ever since 2006, they've been celebrating this day. So they're going to be having a lot of activities out there on Friday, along with giving thanks to the 35 community support groups. And as you've noticed, when we've acknowledged donations to different schools, Stanton Wurzdale gets a lot. So many community support personnel and groups down there give money to this school. So congratulations, Stanton Wurzdale, you did it again.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Ms. Ely. Mr. James and then Mrs. King.
What I'd just like to say, we're making the turn to close out a school year, but by the same token, we are beginning to put together our plans for next year. And I just want to commend the staff for really getting us on the right track. And when I say the right track, I'm looking at what we want to do for next year. And I will go back to the balanced scorecard again. And how we attain this is where we are at this particular moment. I want to thank Ms. Kasaka for getting us on the right path. This is part of a balanced scorecard, and we may not even know it, but this is what we are looking at. This is part of the information that we are looking for. And the interesting part about it, we can look at where we were, and on the 15th and 16th, when we start hiring people, we can look at where we're going. We can set goals, we can set agendas. So we're beginning to move in that direction right now. But by the same token, I would like for us to look at the areas that we want to pursue. And our balanced scorecard should be in line with the strategic plan. And when I look at it, and I'm asking board members to really look at what we really want to emphasize. And one of the things that we've talked about is hiring, and we will be on top of that as we move forward. And what I'm looking for is for us to set goals on what we want to do in terms of hiring and retaining people. And at this time next year, when we get ready to review our strategic plan, we look at what we did, how many we hired, and we look at the number of people that we retained and that we moved toward that goal. And the next thing is to improve, the one that we need to do a workshop on is to improve academic achievement for our students. And I'm looking for the date that I can get a workshop where we can look at people bringing in the data that support our activities in reference to student graduation, what we're doing in reference to testing, what our plans are in reference to testing, but we need to pursue that. Okay, I'm looking at Dr. DeLuise back there, and I'm looking at maximizing federal and state funding. This is one of our strategic plans. And these are the people that I would like to meet with, simply because we are making the turn and we can get this thing right as we go through it again. How are we using the dollars that we're getting federally? We're looking at what we want to do, how can we identify if we're achieving our goals, and things like that. And then our first goal that we had, and Mark, you would come into play, support and maintain safety and secure and respectful schools. We need the data on what we're doing, how we're doing it, and if we are moving in the right direction. See, this is the beginning of the balanced scorecard, because it gives you the things that we are really emphasizing. If we're emphasizing and we're really putting our dollars and cents, one of the key ingredients to a balanced scorecard is simply, are we putting our monies in the areas where we want to emphasize, and what we really want to pursue. See, this thing, when I look at our balanced look at our strategic plan, we can look at this plan and we'll put it in the drawer, and we won't see it and we won't think about it until it's time for us to review it again. But we need to have dates and times on that we can look at our goals and what we want to do. I am not asking us to do anything, so you guys out there. And I didn't leave you out of the loop, Mrs. Boston, Ms. Ellis. I didn't leave you out of the loop because I know our dollars and cents have to match up with what we want to do with our school district. And whether it's truancy or whatever, Mark will be involved with that, but we need to know that we're putting the funds and things in the areas in which we are really emphasizing. And so I know we're doing it, but let's be able to take a look at it. And it's time for us to do it, because we're reviewing these things and we have identified what we want to do, and let's do it. So that's where I am in terms of that. One other important thing, I had a chance to go out with the Florida Farm Bureau, and we had a chance to really tour Marion County and look at what we're doing in agriculture. If one of the things that I just wanted to make sure I got the board's attention, so all of you have, on one of the stops we made at Country Meats. This is just some little things, little tokens of their appreciation. I said I would give each board member one of those packs. But the purpose of that Farm Bureau was to let us know where we are in reference to the vocational programs in Marion County. It's interesting, But I would also like to make sure when we start looking at the vocational components that we're looking for in Marion County, that our school district is actually keeping up with what we, let me put it like, how we are developing our the future employees of Marion County. When I look at what we were looking at as part of the legislative forum tour, I looked at the vocational area in terms of agriculture. But when I look at the number of people that will be involved in agriculture, I don't look at a huge number, but I look at the jobs that feed off of agriculture. The soil, the scientists and all of that, the science and all of that are coming out of that. So as we look at our vocational component and things like this, we really just need to look at our overall program in the area of science, math, and things like that, because this is where we need to be going and looking at programs to support our vocational program. And this is what needs to be reflected in our strategic plan as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mrs. King?
Okay. Well, first I'm going to begin with some community involvement. And last Thursday, Ms. Boynton and Ms. Stacy and myself, we read the proclamation for our National Day of Prayer on the square, and that was fun. And thank you, Mr. Ed, for putting that together. And also, I would like to congratulate Mr. Kevin Christian and his crew for doing an outstanding job last Friday night for the Marion County Media Student Festival. Yes. Those students had a great time, and I think it was fun by all, and you did an excellent job. So
I have a great team.
You do. Okay. And then also I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what you said a little bit, how you would like some data and stuff like that. And I know last week at at our work session, we discussed testing again, just a little bit, not at great length. So I would like to suggest that maybe this summer, it doesn't have to be at the beginning, maybe toward the end, if we can have a workshop and maybe we could see where our county is headed with this testing compared to this year. I want to see numbers and data, what they're doing now, and I want to see what changes are being made so that our students are, so they're learning. That way, if it's in the summer, we know it's in place before the school year is taking place and things are moving along, because this is an important issue. If our students are being tested excessively, they're not being taught. And I still believe at this time of the year, of course we need tests. Teachers invented tests, as Mr. Avatella, I think you brought someone in, they do. But we still need to have rigor with our students because they're getting ready to have 2 or 9 weeks off, and they're going to have summer slide. And I've even heard that there's some studies that it is with math. We know there's like summer slide in reading, they lose some, but I've also heard there's a study out there that they get summer slide in math, and it's universal. It's not even demographics or anything, it's just universal. And we don't want our students to have summer slide. We want them to, keep on learning. And I would just like to suggest that if maybe at some point during the summer, if we could see where we're headed, what direction we're going.
All right, thank you. Mr. Superintendent, I know we did ask you to look at the number of tests and see if there are any ways we can reduce the tests. So maybe you can combine this and bring it to us in a work session.
We are in the process of preparing that now.
Okay, so we can look at a work session.
Absolutely, we'll schedule one.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. James.
I would love to have Mrs. King's suggestion added to the work session that we have on improving academic achievement for all students. Can we add that to that one?
When's that meeting?
What date is that?
We haven't set one, but I would like for her to get one
I've got
set.
to look at the schedule.
Probably early is better.
If we can get that together, we can get all this data together.
Yeah, I think, but remember, at the last work session, we did ask the superintendent to look at the numbers of tests to try to bring back some information on so that we can reduce the number because of that main concern from Mrs. King. So I'm thinking if we can combine what we ask and what she wants to do, and Mr. Tomlin would be, so we just need to be able to put it together in one, and so that we can all hear it all at one time.
And Mrs. Clinton, before we get into it real heavy, because they're getting into the summer with this stuff, I think the earlier we have it, I don't care if it's 1st of June, but,
Okay.
even if we, our workshops are really, really short, and there's not a problem with going to lunch and coming back to work, if that's what we need to do.
All right, Mr. James?
See, I don't want to rush this. I want to have enough time for the staff to get everything that they need, because I want to do it right. I don't want to rush down the hill. I don't want to run downhill, because when we look at the strategic plan, we're going to be trying to get this thing right and get the data that we need. So if we don't, if it's more than a month or whatever time we bring it, I would like for the staff to have that opportunity to do it.
That's why I was just thinking maybe we should put it together, because it's going to take them a while to get some of that data for us,
Right.
So, okay. All right. Thank you, Board, and thank you, Mr. Tomlin. But at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Tomlin, did you have anything you would like to?
A few announcements to the board. I announced it last week at the work session. I'd like to certainly announce publicly now that our oversight committee met for the first time last week. This is a committee of community volunteers who will examine our budget to verify for our community that the funds from the referendum are being allocated appropriately. I believe we had a very successful meeting. A lot of information was shared. Officers were selected. Another meeting date was set, and that meeting will be after you go through the preliminary board budget sessions this summer. You may actually see members of that committee attending board work sessions, and especially involving the budget, because we will be inviting them to attend that also. Speaking of the budget, this has already been alluded to tonight, but our legislature did adjourn without approving a budget. We understand there is a special session beginning on June 1st. However, the official call, as it is called, must specify, that is noted by the governor as to what he is calling the legislatures back to do. So the governor can actually set the tone for that by saying, is it just a budget, or is it a budget plus a certain number of other things? We're anxiously waiting to hear his call to our legislatures to return. In the meantime, of course, we've been advised by our advisors that we should prepare for a very flat budget with no increases, and then any increase will certainly be a blessing on top of that. And we are watching developments very, very closely for that. A positive note, don't forget our Public Education Foundation continues to do great things for our school system. This Thursday is the annual bowling tournament. If you want to see a hoot, you need to come by the Ocala East bowling lanes about 6 o'clock and see those guys in action. It's a lot of fun. And also something else the Public Ed Foundation does, of course, is they sponsor our Take Stock in Children program. And on June the 1st is the Take Stock in Children graduation program. One of my favorite events of the year. And as already been stated also, I'd like to compliment the board on the work you have done in the recent past in reference to our strategic plan. You had a good workshop, I think, good and appropriate focus. And your focus, if you think about the first page or the graphic, is our graduation rate, preparing students that we expect all of our students to graduate from high school, possessing the skills and knowledge necessary to excel in their chosen path, whatever it might be, a 4-year university, a 2-year school, a technical school, the military, going directly into the workforce. We have some great statistics here in Marion County about our graduation rate. It shows that our elementary teachers and students are getting ready for middle school, and our middle schools are moving on to high school. And you've already heard announcements about the great things that our high schools are doing. So I'm very proud to be a part of that and serve our community with you. Final thing is, as we were beginning our board meeting tonight, a printed copy of the various events in our district has been placed into your boxes. So on the way out, if you pick that up, we have plenty for you to do in the next month or so. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Lake.
Nothing today, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Lake. And Ms. Blockhead.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right, board. I want to thank Ms. Stacy, who actually physically dragged me out of here to go to the National Day of Prayer, because we were still here in a meeting. We just finished, and she said, come on, let's go. And I want to thank you for making sure that I got there on time. Also, Mr. Christian, the Media Festival, that was one of the best media festivals I've been through, too. I am so proud of all of our children. and all of the schools and the winners. Congratulations. It was just a wonderful event. I was so pleased. Miss Ely and I were partners in giving out the awards, and it was exciting for us. So thank you for having such a wonderful event. Okay. Mr. Tomlin and I went to the Central Florida School Board Coalition's meeting, and board, I want to say we have 3 new counties that are applying to be a part of the Central Florida Coalition. And Mr. James, you were surely missed at that meeting, and the counties are Pasco County, Sumter County, and Highlands. And so I think that's a wonderful thing. And one of the things was they wanted to make sure that what board members from our county that would be there in Tampa in June. And if you haven't let Ann know, please do so. So I really appreciate that. And it's from your hard work, Mr. James, with this coalition, and I see it growing, and I know you should be proud of yourself. Thank you. Okay. I did attend a couple of minutes of the Oversight Committee meeting, and I was pleased to see the members come and be involved in the process of learning what their duties was. And I want to thank you, Mr. Tomlin, for putting on a well-planned and thought-out presentation. I thought it was really wonderful for the time that I was there, but I know it went even better after I left. Okay, thank you. And Ms. Stacy has done something pretty wonderful, and I want to congratulate her on that. I gave her a task of forming a parents committee, and she has done so. And that first meeting will be here at the Marion County School Board on May 21st. Is at 5 p.m. Am I right, Ms. Stacy? 6 p.m. So I want to thank you for really thoroughly researching what your role was and what you're allowed to do and everything, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And with that, I don't have any more comments, but I'm going to go down back to our agenda. Okay. Okay, board, may I have a motion? But before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through April 24th, 2015. Are there any parents in the audience who will wish to speak on behalf of the students regarding a disciplinary matter? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 15-50 with educational services through the first semester of the 2015-2016 year? May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. King, seconded by Mr. James. Is there any discussion? I call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, and that motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 15-92 and JD 15-93 with educational services through the 2015-2016 school year? May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ely, seconded by Mrs. King. Is there any discussion? Call a question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. And the motion passes 5-0. Board, there being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I just
turned it on.
So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. And the motion passes 5-0, and the meeting is adjourned at 6:39 p.m.